Right, we're on.
Are we on? It says, oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. It's Kath from Simple Reflect, and we are kicking off our second night of #EducatorsCan. And of course, I have Nikki Leonti with me from Start Your Own Family Daycare. Okay. And tonight's all about the questions that we've been given, but uplifting educators as well, and just chatting about how the different fabulous things of being being an educator. So welcome, Nikki.
Thanks. I haven't been on your page before, so this is quite exciting.
Oh, no, I don't think you have. That's pretty cool.
I've not been featured on your page, so yes, I'm very excited. So hopefully we've got some people from my page coming over here as well and learning a lot from you. You have a lot to offer, so this is exciting. So this is week 2. Last week was great, it was a lot of fun, so
yeah,
let's do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's get started. We have straight up, we have some questions that have been sent, and the first one was, what do we think about Family Daycare Week? And Family Daycare Week is promoted by Family Daycare Australia, and they've sent out these really cool little stickers which just remind educators, I think, of the importance in promoting their service. And I know that you do a lot with family daycare educators promoting their service. So I wondered if you'd talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I think this is a big thing, because when people do either get into family daycare at the beginning, or even if they've been in there a long time and things have changed significantly over the last few years, we forget that it's still a business. It's a business to be run. We need to be actively marketing ourselves. Even if you've been full for years, children, eventually go to school. They don't stay with you forever. And we are needing to fill those places. So even if you are full, it's always great to make sure that you're building your reputation in the community, whether that's through social media, website, or in person, so that when you do have vacancies come up, it's not like a quick struggle to try with whoever comes up. We want to be trying to actively have a relevant database or wait list, so that when a vacancy comes up, you've got people you can call. And generally, when a vacancy does come up, we'll contact our current families to see if there's anyone interested in extra days. But that may not always be the case. So some of the ways that we could take advantage of Family Daycare Week in terms of promoting our service is making sure that people know that you exist. Because we can get really busy in all of the paperwork and everything like that, that we forget to be actively marketing ourselves ongoing. Because when a vacancy arises, what I see most people doing is just like bombarding all the Facebook groups, and they're doing Facebook ads, or they're doing ads and posters everywhere in like a real desperate plea to try and fill those vacancies. What we want to do is be doing some proactive marketing, so it's an ongoing process. So it's not just like, oh my God, I've got a vacancy, I've got to fill it right now. It's more, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, come and check me out. I'm not desperate for to fill these vacancies. So some of the great ways to do that is have a business Facebook page. So it's not your profile, it's a business Facebook page. And make sure that you're going on there 2-3 times a week maybe, and just posting some information about what you've done that week. Now, we don't have to be posting photos of our children, and in fact that is definitely a concern. You don't want to be using children that you take care of. Using your own children is okay, but you don't have to be putting photos up of children at all if you don't have your own children to use in your marketing like you and I do. But even just showing pictures of the activities that you've been doing, your environment, photos of you. People are hiring you So, put that up there. Tell people, what you love about family daycare, what you've been doing this week, a bit about you, what's so fabulous about you that they need to come and book their children in. Because when people come and look at family daycare, they're not necessarily looking at the most spectacular environments and how much money you've got to spend on resources. They're looking at who is taking care of my child for 8, 10, 12 hours every day. So that's the kind of stuff you want to be posting on Facebook. So aim for 2 to 3 times a week. More if you have vacancies, so do it daily if you have got a vacancy, but without that desperation. And that's the kind of content you want to be sharing in Facebook groups. So quite often most areas have some kind of childcare vacancy group for your area. And you could be sharing, saying, oh, look, we've been doing this activity this week, or I'm so excited, I've got this new environment area, or, whatever it is that you want to be sharing, rather than come check me out, come check me out, come check me out, because then people are like, why is she always on here and why is no one going to them? So that can really make people kind of have a bit of a red flag about that. So being proactive in your marketing, being consistent. And some other great ways is having logos on a shirt. So when you're out in the community, people can, and they're like, wow, look at, I always got comments whenever I went to the library or the local park and things like that. They're like, wow, you've got your hands full. Like, get that
and
all
hats
the time.
for the children. Just
the hats are great. And that's just great for, management, because then you can see which ones are yours. But, people start conversations with you because, they can see your shirt, you've got some marketing hats. Some people have got things on their cars. I mean, I personally didn't do that.
No,
and I also,
either, but I know educators that do, absolutely.
Yeah, especially like I remember I used to see this educator always park in the same car park wherever we went to this playground, and I just knew her because I knew her car, and like I always saw her car around. So it can be effective. I don't know about putting banners and signs up out the front of your home. I know some educators don't do that because they don't want people to be aware that they're home with children all day. I guess it depends on your area, but think of some ways that you can be constantly marketing your service and constantly marketing you and what you offer. I guess that's how we could take advantage of Family Daycare Week, is really just kind of doing a bit of a boost, even using that, saying it's Family Daycare Week. This is what we're doing in our environment. This is what we're doing in our service today. I would definitely take these particular options. And also one of the other things is those stickers from Family Daycare Australia is to be shared around. It's to be that's the point of them, is to get families talking about family daycare, families talking about your service. So take advantage of all these opportunities, especially because, I see a lot of educators coming up to Christmas and it's like, they're like, oh my God, I've got 5 families leaving or something. They're going to kinder or prep or whatever is after school, before school. And I think, but did you not know that? You knew this was coming. Let's work on it before it gets to that kind of, stressful moment. And I always think around August, especially, we want to be having the conversations with parents saying, what are your intentions for next year? Because you do need time to fill those spots. You need time to be, working towards finalising some numbers. And I know it seems quite a fair way out, but parents know what they're doing the following year generally, because they have to be booking into kindy and all that kind of stuff, usually around September.
I actually had a conversation this week with a parent that is booking in for preschool next year. She wanted to know my opinion, and so she needs to book it now if that child's actually going to get in, so she knows what she's going to do next year.
Yeah, yeah. And even for me, like I've booked my son in for school next year already.
Yeah.
That's just, the process. So I know exactly what we're doing next year. So most of your parents will have an idea. And obviously there are going to be those parents who have got younger children and perhaps work changes towards the end of the year, but that's no one's fault. But generally parents will have an idea of what's going on. So be sure to ask them. Take some initiative, put out a letter even. Maybe we could share a letter that we put out to families to kind of give them that intro into saying, look, have a think about what you're doing next year, making some plans.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about the conversation. It's about starting it, but it's also, as you said, it's about promoting ourselves and getting people to know who we are before we actually need children, and having that waiting list there that's ready to go at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely, because waiting lists shrink very quickly because, people get spots elsewhere or they change their mind and things like that. So you want to try and build that up a little bit as well. And always just take people's contact details so you can follow up and don't wait till the last minute.
Absolutely. I send new parents to message me via my Facebook page because I find that's a really easy way to get them to take that extra step so that you know whether they're serious about having a spot with you or not.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So absolutely. So our next question was was around programming and how to find time to fit in our programming. And I look at this in a different way. I suppose it's not about actually finding the time to do it, but it's about finding a way that works for you so that it takes less time. But how do you recommend that educators find time to fit their programming in?
Well, I'm always a fan of having a routine to get things done. And what you do need to find out what your requirements are from your coordinator, because some schemes have a lot kind of, you need a lot more documentation than others, and you may be surprised by you may be doing way too much. And I find that people are super stressed about it. Quite often they are doing too much.
Yeah.
And we want to remember what the point of programming is to be supporting the children in our service. It's not just to fill out more paperwork. It's to actually make sure we're keeping a track of each child that comes to us, making sure that they are developing and how can we support them further. And it's not just about literacy and numeracy. It really isn't. It's self-care in so many different areas that
confidence.
And that's so important in those early stages. So the first thing, I guess, is you want to be super familiar with the developmental stages for each age kind of group. So if you don't have children of your own, or if you don't have a lot of experience yet, that is where I would start. But in terms of getting your program organized down and particular tasks. So, for example, I've always just worked 3 days a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So on Mondays, I would be kind of looking at doing observations. So I do observations each day, but I'd be kind of formalizing them on a Monday. So if I'd taken notes through the week previously, I'd be formalizing those, putting them in, making sure I'm linking them to the EYLF. So I would do that on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I would make sure that our scheme always liked the developmental checklists done as well. So I would make sure I'd be going through those I mean, these tasks are right. So these are my kind of tasks that need to be done all the time. And Thursday, I would make sure that all my forms and all that kind of thing was up to date. Like make sure everything was signed and by the end of the week, because all of our attendance had to be in by the end of the week. So that's kind of how I did those kind of tasks. And then when it came to my programming, I would sit down every afternoon and go through what I was going to do for the next day. And I would designate maybe 5 minutes, because I would generally be thinking about that during the day as I was going. I'd have an idea of what I wanted to do the next day. During each day, I would be just kind of noting things down, taking photos. Taking photos for me was really good. I've been teaching years before doing family daycare. The biggest mistake is taking too many photos, because there's so much to go through. So I would take key photos of things, because each photo, I want to take the photo for a particular reason. I'd be looking at, who are they sitting with? Who are they not sitting with? I'd be looking at things.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Yeah. Because some people just
take photos that are meaningful.
Photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just put them onto Facebook in a Facebook group, or share it with parents, or however they do it. But they're not really making any use of those photos. And then they're having to take notes as well, because they don't really have time to go through all of those photos. So just take photos that are actually useful and that you want to be talking about. So then I would spend 20 minutes a day maximum going through those photos and linking them. And that's how I would program and do my observation. So, sitting down daily, I'd be doing my daily reflection. I'd be doing all that usually in rest time, if I was lucky. But I would usually find small blocks of time through the afternoon if they weren't asleep. If they were just playing quietly, I'd just sit next to them and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're sitting right there, you're upset. People, you do not have to be, 100% engaged with every single child 8, 9, 10 hours a day. That is not what you have to be doing. So when I go through those photos, I can actually see exactly where each child is up to as well. Like, what are they, oh wow, they're actually sitting in the group, the whole group. Or, oh my goodness, they're actually eating their morning tea on a chair. Things like that you can see, as opposed to just having like hundreds of photos. So that's how I reduced my programming time, because by taking those specific photos, I wasn't having to write everything down all the time.
And I like that too, taking snippets of time through the day.
Yeah.
So that your programming is all done within work hours as well. I know that I often sit at the morning tea table with the children. I have it on my lap, and I take 10 minutes then. That's one of the habits I have through the day, to make sure that my programming is actually getting done on the day, that you don't get behind with it.
Yeah. And I think you can fall behind when you've got that pressure on yourself, thinking, I cannot sit here and do programming when the children, you take that off. If the children are you can see all of them, do it once they're well fed, or if they're resting, once you've done all the nappies and they're all, doing an activity, engaged in something, then that's a great opportunity to take 5-10 minutes to do that. I think a lot of educators feel like, oh, I can't be doing that. What if someone comes in, or what if someone sees me doing that? Well, it's perfectly fine.
It absolutely is. That's part of that's part of what we do. It's part of our requirement, and to do it in work hours is 100% okay.
Yeah.
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 Because as soon as you get behind in a few days, it can be really stressful. So I do urge educators that if you, for some reason, haven't been able to find those small blocks of time, just designate like half an hour or something at the end of the week to make sure you're up to date by the end of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. And realistically,
Because
if you are spending, oh, sorry. Oh, Rose. Oops. So realistically, but if you are spending more than half hour a day, then you are probably doing too much. And that is a really good teller to actually look over what you're doing and look at your requirements and really think about what is valuable programming and documentation.
Yeah, and you'll get quicker at it. Like when you got a bit more experience, you'll completely know what you should be looking for. You'll know how to extend activities just naturally. It just takes time. It just, it won't, once you do your Cert 3, it doesn't automatically just appear in your head. You know, it takes practice. And I also think it's really good. I mean, I had to do pracs, like a lot of prac before I got my teaching degree. And in a way, with family daycare, it's hard. It takes that away because you don't get to see what. And I learned from my pracs of coordinators. So if you can, try and go to someone else's service and watch them for a couple of hours if they're okay with that. Or, go to playgroups and talk to other educators with what they're doing. But actually seeing someone in practice is really, really helpful if that's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Our scheme does a buddy system where for those first 3 months you actually connect with an experienced educator. They look at your programming and they encourage you to do things that will help you be quicker at it or be more valuable and make sure it's meaningful, make sure it's what's needed. It's just not writing pages and pages of stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
And next question was around school holidays and coping with schoolies. And I actually did a podcast about this this week, and I really focused on not forcing our schoolies into a routine that they're not ready for, to actually recognising that schoolies are they're ready for school holidays, and we need to recognise that they need holidays too.
Yeah, I think that was my big mistake. I took schoolies once and I have never done it again. It was so scarring. It's horrible. I had very young children of my own and young children in care, and then I took 3 older schoolies, like they were 8, 9 and 10.
Yeah,
it didn't mix. Completely, complete opposite interests. I had nothing. I was not prepared. I was not prepared for that. I didn't know these schoolies at all. They just last minute booking. And I thought, how hard could it be? And I just wasn't prepared for it. So
I think that's a great tip. But
I think be prepared. Frozen.
Yes. Yeah, we froze for a minute. But I totally agree that that's a great tip, is that if you are going to have schoolies, you need to be prepared, you need to be organised, and you need to have really thought about what you can offer them and how you can keep the balance.
But I really I liked your point as well, and I think maybe I forgot that as well, is that they need a holiday. Like they've been go for 10 weeks usually. I guess for me, I was like, okay, let's do this programming and do all this stuff. And
yeah,
the fact that they needed a break, they don't want to be doing that stuff. They just want to play for 2 weeks. And I guess I should have allowed for more room. That's okay.
Yeah, I had a 9-year-old boy that came in last holidays, and he actually slept the first 3 afternoons. He slept. Now, who would expect that a 9-year-old boy would curl up on the lounge and go to sleep in the afternoon? But that's obviously what he needed. And I think sometimes we assume that they want to do stuff and they need to be occupied, and sometimes they actually just want to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I'll put a link to your podcast episode over on my page as well after this. Because I think
I'll share that with you.
A lot of people need that. Would be cool. Did we have any more questions?
Just around Easter experiences and what are easy Easter experiences that I was doing. And I've got 2 main Easter experiences that I actually offer the children every year, and one. I did one new one this week, and it was literally a very cute, and I should put photos up, but it was a very cute tree from Kmart, and the hanging eggs with the strings on them. And the children hung the eggs on the tree. And the other experience that I do every year is actually cutting out their eggs. They're about that round out of cardboard, and we use material and wood glue to actually decorate the front and the back of the eggs, and then we do our Easter hunt with them. So the children, through the whole week, make one or 2 a day, and then they have a whole basket of these material eggs that they've made that they go hunting with in the afternoon, and it's sort of something that they do every day this week. Yeah, so much better than doing chocolate or edible things. They're actually using something that they've made.
That's such a good idea. I always found it difficult because there's so much sugar in such a tiny egg, and one egg is just kind of not very exciting for them. Whereas having a whole series of these craft items that they've made, especially when it's a bit different, it's not just a cut and paste type, paper craft, using material and things. I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah, I love using material for craft.
I might even do that with I've got my boys home.
Oh, you so should.
Did you just cut out cardboard, or did you use timber ones?
No, it's just thick cardboard. It's actually the back of a box of Nutri-Grain.
Cool. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, cereal box.
Great idea. I've got a few of those. Excellent. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So that were my 2 tips for Easter experiences.
I like that. Very cool. I think, and you want to do something a bit exciting, because I think Easter's a bit harder. Oh, Tamara said she uses sugar-free chocolate.
Also
cool.
Gluten and nut-free. Oh, I love that.
Wow, cool. I don't even know how. I guess the health food store would have that. We make a chocolate. Just at home, I use raw cacao powder, cocoa.
Okay.
And then I use maple syrup, and then you mix that, and it's a really nice kind of thick chocolate sauce. and then putting it just in the molds that you can get from Kmart. That is quite fun to make those, and the kids love that.
Nice.
But again, that melts really easy, so it's quite messy to eat. But it's a much healthier version than other things, but it has got nuts in it. But we don't have any nut allergies. We don't have a nut ban. Yeah, but
no, we don't either at the moment. Yeah. It's a really big point. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, that is all the questions I have tonight. So
cool. I don't have any other questions submitted either this week. That was good. We got, and look, it's 8:01. We did it.
Yay! Perfect. Almost perfect timing. Yeah. So if you have got any more questions or you're watching in the replay, then pop them in the comments below because we will come back to them. We love questions. So it's very much how we can all interact and chat together. So it really works just to pop questions and comments and whatnot in for us to come back to.
Yes, because we'll be back next week, same time, same place.
We will, absolutely. Off Nikki's page, Start Your Own Family Daycare. And very exciting.
Yes. Excellent. Thanks.
Oh, super. Okay. Thanks, Nikki. Bye, everyone.